To punch your moral dance card at the moment, if you're, say, Paul Weiss with your radioactive Epstein files chairman stuffed into the back office where you hope no one notices him. Where your firm is literally described now as the face of capitulation, right? When you're trying to avoid a picture the future of your firm appearing in the history books and the chapters on the shameful cowardice of the once vaunted and powerful American legal profession in the face of the tiniest nudge from a tin pot dictator, if you are Paul Weiss or you're another firm that's in that boat, you have the opportunity to have a very big and very important in 2026. Because the very contingent, as yet undecided fight over whether or not America is going to let Donald Trump build a huge new constellation of black site prison camps in this country, that is a fight that needs legal firepower, that needs pro bono lawyers donating their time. There's representing people who are already in the existing camps, a record number of people being held right now in what we know are atrocious conditions. There's also representing people with habeas corpus petitions, right? Non-lawyers hearing that phrase that they are being violated every day, over and over and over again, specifically when it comes to the Trump administration, arresting people and locking them up indefinitely without any chance to go to court to be heard. Which, of course, is the basis of the writ of habeas corpus. They're not supposed to be able to lock you up in prison without putting your case before a court. In Massachusetts, one federal judge last week went so far as to order the Trump administration to advise every single person they arrested and locked up, to advise them in writing. And in multiple languages, that every single person the Trump administration is locking up has the right to petition a federal court to review their case and potentially set them free. The judge ordered that the Trump administration needs to give every single person they lock up written notice of their right to a habeas corpus petition in a federal court. And then she ordered that within 3 hours of anybody being given that notice, they need to be given access to a telephone, quote, to call an attorney. Whereupon perhaps they could call Paul Weiss. Perhaps Big Law, which has a lot to make up for now, perhaps Big Law could dig down deep and try to find its soul somewhere amid the tidal wave of habeas corpus petitions that ought to be filed by all these thousands of men, women and children. Trump is arresting all over the country and locking up literally without due process, without any access to the courts. And why is he doing that? Well, he's doing it in part to create an artificial need for tons more space in Trump prison camps, which they are trying to build in huge numbers right now. Where else could Big Law help? Big Law could also help in the fight to stop Trump building new prison camps. Put that Project Salt box tracker back up there. You see, at the very top, you see the map there, and we'll get into that in a minute, but you see at the top the lost reputation. Because right now, the future size of Donald Trump's archipelago of massive black site prison camps is being determined by fights in tiny little towns, by individual local officials, by angry local residents. And tiny, no-resource local activist groups that are trying one by one to stop the next Trump prison camp from being built in their town. And they could use some help. And they're doing a good job fighting it in all sorts of ways. And it's the least partisan thing you can possibly imagine. I mean, one proposed Trump prison camp in Bahia, Mississippi, appears to be canceled now after local protests and after Mississippi Republican Senator Roger Wicker expressed his objections to it. One proposed Trump prison camp in Oklahoma City appears to be canceled now after local protests and after local officials leaned on the private company that was going to sell that warehouse there to ICE, but they ought not do that. In Surprise, Arizona, after a Rockefeller Group warehouse was bought by ICE, there's been a ton of local protests there. Even MAGA Republican Congressman Paul Gosar has been among those expressing concerns about that warehouse becoming a prison camp in his home state. In Chester, New York, the fight is on over a warehouse owned by an entity associated with Carl Icahn. Locals are protesting there, including tonight. Local officials say the local sewer system, among other things, cannot handle anything like the size of that prison camp that Trump wants to put there in New York. In San Antonio, Texas, after Oakmont Industrial Group reportedly sold its warehouse to ICE. Among the local Texas officials expressing their outrage and their determined opposition is the top elected official in Bexar County, Texas, Judge Peter Sakai, whose family was incarcerated in prison camps during World War II for the crime of being Japanese American. He says that is what led him to public service. He says he is absolutely opposed to there being a new ICE prison camp in Bexar County in San Antonio. In the nonpartisan city council, there unanimously approved an action plan to try to find a legal way to block another one of Trump's planned prison camps in Clint, Texas. Plenty of local opposition, plenty of protests, plenty of bipartisan outrage. And you know what they could use? They could use some big-time legal firepower on their side. In Orlando, Florida, it's a firm called HLI Partners that's being pressured for potentially brokering a sale to ICE for a prison camp in Orlando. In New Hampshire, a member of Republican governor did know, but nobody told the governor. And so now that cabinet official is out. In Social Circle, Georgia, even a Republican congressman like Mike Collins is saying no to a prison camp in Social Circle that would potentially triple the local population there. That's a town of 5,000 people. They want a Trump prison camp there that would hold up to 10,000 people. We're going to talk with Democratic U.S. Senator John Ossoff about that and more in just a few minutes. Whether it is the Epstein moral disaster or the capitulating to a would-be dictator moral disaster or any of the other moral disasters of 2025, of the first year of Donald Trump being back in office. This year, 2026, the second year of Trump being back in office, shows that his approval has never been lower. His party's electoral prospects have never been more dismal. The clarity with which the country views him and his administration and his intentions has never been more clear. Trump has never been less powerful. The agenda he's pursuing has never been more evident and more unpopular. What this means, if you're a wuss, what this means, if you were wrong in 2025, in the first year of Donald Trump being back in office, is that it's not going to be right well. It means that 2026 is good news for you. 2026 is the easiest chance you'll ever have to rectify what you did wrong, to get on the right side of this thing. Now or never.